All right, Shalom, Shalom.
Shalom.
We're two brothers out of Great Mills on Atlanta, right? But first and foremost, we give our honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, by Hashem,
Hashem, Yahushai,
Hashem.
Ashur Hakwadash.
Hey, double honor to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, rule well and teach well. Shalom to your like man that scattered abroad, pushing his truth with all sincerity. And also shalom to your very few sincere sisters that's really taking heed and getting in order in these last days. So, as you can see, brother Amawan, brother Radah, right? Going into prophecy, pretty much what this sparked off was, Trump and Putin. But they steady, they going back at it, man. We in those times of prophecy, So just you can start off with that in the book of Revelation. I think.
All right, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 19 and verse 10. It says, "And I fell at his feet to worship him." And this is going into John the Revelator falling at the feet of an angel. It says, "And I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushai. Worship Yahweh Shem Yahushai, for the testimony of Yahushai is the spirit of prophecy."
Yeah, so and what we're going into is WW3. This is the spirit that we should be in. Warning the sheep, right? This is our duty. To the book of Isaiah 62, I think verse 6 talks about how a watchman sits on top of that watchtower, and pretty much he's watching on whatever's happening. And he blow a distinctive sound, right? And we in that time of war, right? Like I states in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, in verse 8. So what we're gonna go into is how Putin, Trump gave an ultimatum to Putin, for the ceasefire with the whole Ukraine situation, and Putin didn't respond back to it. So now with Putin not responding, Trump responded, right? With that being said, he had to set up because he's thinking, he's setting for something else, right? So, matter of fact, that goes into the peace and safety. But we're gonna grab that scripture later on, though. But you got to throw up.
Really, he probably just doing it for show. I don't think he really don't want to he really don't want to do that for real. But he got to do something, to show his authority.
Yeah, kind.
This is really it's the AI overview, and it's going into the situation like brothers speaking on, like actually what happened. It says most recently on Friday, August 1st, 2025, Vladimir Putin facing a deadline from U.S. President Trump to agree to a ceasefire with Ukraine, stated that Russia hoped for more peace talks, but reiterated that Russia conditions for peace remain unchanged. Then it says Putin response to Trump deadline. Says in his first public comments since President Trump called on him to end the war, Putin did not directly address Trump's ultimatum, but instead suggested that disappointment regarding the slow pace of peace talks stemmed from inflated expectations. So it said he stressed that to achieve a peaceful resolution, deep conversations were needed in the silence of a negotiating process rather than in public, And Trump is all about doing everything in the eyes of men. You there, Op? Can you hear me out?
Okay, I'll put it on.
Yeah, Trump is used to doing things in the eyes of men, for that public satisfaction. He want to please his audience. But hey man, Putin is not about that, man. Putin is really about that action. So he gonna call Trump's bluff, man, every time. So that's pretty much it. Unless you want to get into the article.
Yeah, I just want to back you up on that one part. You said 2 points. I just want to bring those out as far as the peace and safety, and also, with Putin, like you said, Trump is not gonna be able to pull, Putin's bluff, right? A card, because at the end of the day, right? The Lord is putting a spirit upon these men, these other different kings to get ready for war. And that's where Putin's mind is at now, pretty much. This is Isaiah 13 in verse 4. It says, the noise of a multitude of the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. And that was really the main point, because really, when you read up, it's going into the missiles, the ICBMs, that's going to be taking place, shooting off to this modern day Babylon, right, which is America, right. But he says the Lord of hosts will muster up the hosts of the battle, right. So he's stirring up the minds of these rulers, these kings, to be in that war mode. Matter of fact, can I bring out another precept right quick? Just to add on to it. This Ecclesiastes chapter 3:1. It says, to everything there's a season, and to a time every purpose under the heaven. Jump down to verse 8. A time to love, a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. So we already going through these types of scenarios right now, these seasons, right? And we in that time of war, right? This is gonna be the war of all wars, right? And that's why he's mustering their minds up. Because now it's like, I remember Putin was saying like how he got something that can kill all of us. Even himself, he's like, I can wipe the whole world out. you know. But that's just the war mindset that he got him in. And also wanted to bring out that First Thessalonians. It says, but of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. It says, verse 2, 5 and 2. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. And that's what. Oh, you got that. If you was going to break it down.
No, I just said Con.
Oh, kind. So so it says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction, right? So now it's like that quiet before the storm. They're gonna try to bring it down. The next thing you know, boom, missiles get to flying. You
Con.
know, it's gonna happen sudden, right? Sudden meaning all at the instant. You know.
And then, Salakia. And
Mhm.
then another thing, like you saying, peace and safety, man. These people, the world don't take these things serious. This the Virgin Daughter. This place hadn't been hit with missiles at all at no point in time in history, man. So they well, you got Pearl Harbor, but that really wasn't, that was just a skirmish. But this place hadn't been touched, man, with a major war. So, the citizens of Babylon the Great, aka America, are they think they're dwelling safely. But
Mhm.
what they fail to realize, man, is that World War III is on the way.
Kind. Um.
But I got that article.
Yeah. Kind.
All right. Uh,
And
this
this.
is
Oh, slacking.
this is what you say?
Oh, I was gonna just say why till you had got it, but this is the response, to why we going to this article, because like you said earlier, Putin. I mean, Trump gave Putin an ultimatum, and Putin that responded. So with him not responding was an answer for Trump to make a move on something.
And this article is by way of Reuters. Reuters. It says and it's 54 minutes ago. So this is like fresh news.
Mm.
It says Trump moves nuclear submarines after statements from former Russian president. So it says U.S. President Donald Trump on Friday said he ordered 2 nuclear submarines to be moved to the appropriate regions in response to threats from former President uh, Dmitry Medvedev. Medvedev, something
Yeah,
like that.
EV, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it says this is a quote. It says, "I have ordered 2 nuclear submarines to be positioned in the appropriate regions just in case these foolish and inflammatory statements are more than just that. Trump said in a social media post that called Medvedev's statements highly provocative. I'm gonna see if I can find what the statement was. If they put that, they should put that.
Yeah, I tried to see if they had put it on that same page too. But like you said, that main thing was like let's put out submarines in position just in case it's more than, you know what I'm saying. Pretty much not, they're not lacking is what Trump is trying to do with Putin. You know, popping how he popping. Trump want to make sure that he's not lacking trying to govern. I guess govern America or govern who that was Ukraine and who. Yeah, Ukraine. Was it Ukraine and Israel?
What's that? So
That
like,
he trying to back up. It was Ukraine and
who Trump?
yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the major tool he trying to, that's the major tool that the U.S. really supplying weapons and stuff to.
Hmm. Was it Ukraine and Moscow? I think that's what it was. Yeah, you can keep.
Let me see.
Oh, you didn't find it? Okay, cool.
Yeah, it kind of vague, but I can go on.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much. I mean you had really made the point when you did the AI overview for it.
But
Or
let me see. It's saying something about what he said. It said it says on Monday, Medvedev accused Trump of engaging in a game of ultimatums and reminding him that Russia possessed Soviet-era nuclear strike capabilities of last resort after Trump told Medvedev to watch his words. So that's what he said. He just pretty much threatened him, told him, "Hey, we got nuclear weapons too, man."
hmm.
You know. So like I say, man, hey, these other nations are not really scared of Babylon the Great, man.
They really ain't. They didn't pull up this girl's skirt, man. They didn't see that the girl got all types of warts and everything, man. I want to grab this one precept. Is that Joel 3:9? You know, even though it's it say about the weak, let the weak sound strong. It's just the point that I'm bringing out is that they're in that war mindset, right? They're gonna nations like China, Russia, they're gonna put power inside these smaller nations, but also they're gonna be in the spirit of, you know what I'm saying, battle as well. That's like the brother was saying, they're not scared of America no more, man. Hold on, slack 2 seconds.
All right, yeah. So going on into this article, it says Medvedev, whatever his name, it says has emerged as one of the Kremlin's most outspoken and anti-Western hawks since Russia sent tens of thousands of troops into Ukraine in 2022. Says Kremlin critics deride him as an irresponsible loose cannon, though some Western diplomats say his statements illustrate the thinking of senior Kremlin policy making circles. So if him and Putin wasn't on one accord, he wouldn't be speaking like that, man. Because Putin don't have disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in agreement. Whatever he's saying, Putin agrees with.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you was on a point when you making a point when about Joel 3.
Yeah, Joel 3. Yeah, I read straight into it. It's from Joel 3:9 all the way to verse 11. Um, yeah, I read this at the KJV. It says, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war." Right. So going back to Ecclesiastes chapter 3, they already set that mindset of a time of war. Right. That's why, like you said, they really they ready to go against America. They ready to talk down against America. Because why? They in the mind state of shooting ICBMs towards America. Um, it says, "Prepare war, wake up the mighty men." Right? And the NLT says, "Call out your best warriors." It says, "Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up." Verse 10. "Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. let the weak say I'm strong, right? So we know that going into the smaller nations that they're going to be dealing with is going to actually be raised up in power. They're going to have the capabilities of shooting they missiles onto America. It says assemble yourselves. That's the main thing I was getting to. It says assemble yourselves and come all ye heathen and gather yourselves together round about thither, cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Right. And the main thing I was saying, the main where I was getting was assemble yourselves, right? And that's what's making Trump assemble himself, because the other nations assembling themselves. So like, put the tongue twisting. Um
Yeah,
yeah,
that was it on that out.
yeah, that was it on that.
Well, I'm bringing this out. Book of Saint Matthew, chapter 24.
That's that.
It's our Lord Yahushua speaking. Um, I just start at verse 4. It
Okay.
says, "And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name and say, I am a Mashiach, and shall deceive many.
Mm-hmm.
It says, And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet."
Mm.
And that's what's going on right now. We're seeing these rumors of wars, and we're seeing wars taking place. You
God,
got Cambodia and Thailand bombing each other,
Thailand.
man. Like,
Yeah.
when have you ever heard of something like that taking place, man?
God.
How about Shem Shah has things getting stirred up throughout the earth. So we in different times, man.
Mm.
This is different times like we never seen before. But it says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines. Over there in Gaza right now, man, them people starving right now. They been starved out. And pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. We just seen an earthquake that created a small tsunami.
Yep.
Earthquake that hit like off the coast of Russia somewhere.
Yep.
But it says, all these are the beginning of sorrows, man. So we just in the beginning stages of this thing, man. Verse 9, it says, Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. But a point I wanted to make on that verse
Mm-hmm.
was that, man, brothers having dreams, um, how about Shimei Shah putting the spirit on unbelievers to have dreams of what's to come, man. Jacob's trouble. So we in the end times, man. Matter of fact, let me get that.
I got
Look
this
at
inside
there.
the NLT version
Okay, come.
of verse 8, Matthew 24, verse 8. It says, but all this is only the first of the birth pains, with more to come. And also, when you had said earlier, it was like, man, with Cambodia and Thailand, he was like, man, when had they ever done that? That's how you know we at the end. And I know you started off verse 4, but when we go to verse 3, the the disciples was asking Lord Yahushua, when is the end? When is the end of this rulership? When we gonna get the kingdom? And then after that, he started going to the list of things, like as the brother was going into, you know.
I should have left that out.
Now it's all good. It's all good. So yeah, so like you said, Cambodia and Thailand, right? These people just rising up that you would never seen. They rising up against each other. They getting ready for war. So all of these just the beginning of birth pains, and it said with the more to come. Back on you. And I had one precept whenever you get done.
Okay, yeah, like I was saying, brothers having dreams. One of the brothers from the camp just had a major dream, about Jacob's trouble, getting spiritual power.
Con.
Then you got several videos going out about the MOTB. Uh, People having dreams, man. The Lord is putting the spirit upon these people. So this is the book of Acts, chapter 2, and
That's
verse
spirit.
17, which
Spirit.
is I think it's a precept. Is a direct quote from Job, in Job chapter 2, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, it says, "And it shall come to pass in the last days, said the Lord, said God, Yahweh Shem Shai, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh." And they go for heathens, whoever, man. everybody gonna understand what's going on. You know, the Lord is gonna put the spirit upon these people to know that something is going on throughout the earth. It says, pour out my spirit upon all flesh, for your sons and daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions. And then one of the Jake spoke of a vision he had. He said he had a dream, but first he had a vision in between the dream or something like that. You know, he felt like he was half sleeping, half awake. It says, your old men shall dream dreams. It says, and my servants, you know, the prophets, man, the true believers. It says, and on my servants and on my handmaidens, I will pour out in those days of my spirit, and they shall prophesy. So, you know, hey, man, brothers going into it out on the highways and hedges and doing lessons like me and this brother doing right now, man, you know, bringing it out, letting the people know what's coming in relation to the scriptures, man. You know, that's what we ought to do. Not like the Christian church, man. They don't go into nothing. You know, they could be talking about Russia and Putin, but can they relate this to the scriptures? Of course not, man. So that's how the true prophets are to conduct themselves when it comes to this truth, man. You know, it's all about prophecy first.
Yeah, they like I'm gonna say they like some dogs that can't bark, right? They're useless. They can't tell you. They really can't see. The only reason they able to speak on some things is because they're hearing it from us. But like you said, they can't dive deep to understand where we're coming from. But I just had that one precept in the book of Isaiah 13 and 17. It says, "Behold, I will stir the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children." But the main point was 17, and I was comparing that to how we know this going to the modern day Russians, but with that being said, you know, with we already know that Putin's mind is made up, is he's ready for war, right? It said stir the Medes against them, right? Going to who Babylon. That's why that's why Trump wasn't hesitating to bring out those submarines. You know, because it's like, you know what, this man is pretty much, without him speaking, is letting me know where he's coming. Like he's ready to pretty much, bring these missiles out. But like the brother just brought into, we can't we won't see World War III just yet until we go through the time of Jacob's trouble and the implementation of the MOTB. But you got to throw out. I ain't if you had anything else. Excuse me.
That was it on that one. You know,
Okay.
that was pretty much one I had. You know,
Yeah,
unless you
kind
got
of.
something else.
That was really it. I mean, the point, was made. Lord willing, was edifying. You know what I'm saying? But it was just something quick. Like I said, hey, give them warning from me. Blow that shofar, that ram's horn. So I mean, that was really it. You can close it on out.
Well, it's breaking up out. It's freezing. Is it freezing on your end?
No, it's not freezing on my end. You want to close on out?
It might be mine.
It should be straight.
Kind of, yeah. Like we got to do these lessons, man. You know, sometimes in real time. You know, together. You know, hey, we constantly doing it, man. Bringing this word out. You know, trying to feed the flock, man. Trying to bring forth edification. You know, it's always a pleasure to get with this brother and other brothers, man, to bring this word out, man. You know, boosting each other in the faith, man. You know, but that's all I had.
So we're gonna close out. Lord willing, edifying. We're gonna close out by giving all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh by Hashem.
Yahweh by Hashem. Yahweh Shai by Hashem Rakakwadash.
The honor to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.